Good evening. I would like to call. I'm going to hesitate here for a moment.
Got those meetings.
Man, I'm super worried. Okay. I would like to call the July 16th, 2026 Wall City Council meeting to order. And would you like to call roll call?
Hoffman,
Here.
Morgan,
Here.
Houston,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Hawk,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Schultz. Here. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Let us stand to say the pledge of allegiance. And start this here.
I
pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good idea.
Okay, Carolyn, is there any order of business for emergencies?
No,
Is there attendance on Zoom?
no.
And that brings us then to item 6 of the deputy report. Would you like to?
Sure. So, bad news, our servers are still down from our cyber incident. So I don't have anything to show you today because I can't access anything. But I guess, looking back a couple weeks, even last weekend, we didn't have any major issues during the wall celebration, so that was nice. We had a good turnout as far as law enforcement volunteering to come help. I think that kind of kept people at bay a little bit. I don't know if you saw those extra numbers around, but it surely helped on our end. But other than that, nothing major to report, but I will stand for any questions if you guys have any questions.
I certainly want to express appreciation for the extra duty folks that we had at the rodeo arena.
Yeah.
I love their red, white, blue little vehicles that they're driving, which
Yep,
are the ones from Rapid, right?
yep, that's the veteran mobile, yep.
And so that was very cool, and so we appreciate that extra effort that you folks put in
Absolutely.
for us, so
I'll spread the word.
thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments? Okay. I would ask for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I would like to ask for a change on the agenda. I had requested to be an agenda item and was told I didn't need to fill out an agenda request because I was on council now, but then it was left off. And I was told I could be number 27, but
Okay,
what I want to speak on doesn't need any action, but I do want it. I want to do it while there are people in the room, not after executive session and everybody leaves. So if I could be moved up underneath item number 15, well, be above item number 15, right underneath number 14, when Wayne does the pickleball, I'll go after him if I could.
14.5.
14.5.
And I
Okay.
apologize for. Yeah. She asked about it. I went back to my office, the phone rang and it left my head. But I did email them all.
okay, so would I have a motion to adopt the agenda with the new accrued request for 14.5 for Melanie and may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Moved and Mike seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us then to the ambulance reports, which is.
Thank you for having me this evening. A little bit behind, so we're gonna give 2 months worth of reports, May and June. So for the month of May, we had 9 service calls with 5 transports. And then for June, we had 12 calls with 9 transports. Okay, other news to report is that during the wall celebration, we had our pancake feed. It was a great success. Had a fantastic turnout. You raised a little over $3,300 in donations. Like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Dairy Queen, Wake and Bacon, Red Rock, and Wall Drug, as well as all the volunteers who came out and helped. It couldn't have happened without them. We also at the ambulance service were affected by the cyber attack, the sheriff's department. It basically affected the entire county. The only way it really affected us was we have an app, it's called Active 911, and it doesn't work for us at the moment. But our pagers and stuff still work, so we're still able to do our job effectively. So, any questions for me?
I would like to know how the Rapid City Fire Department's, I think of it, announcement that as of December 31st, they're not going to go to the country, is that
Outside of Rapid City limits.
outside of Rapid
Yes.
City limits?
So to give a
Wow.
brief explanation, to not take up the time, so the folks know that I also work for the Rapid City Fire Department. We took over the ambulance service in 2003 from a private service called AMR. And at that time, then we just kept on doing services outside of city limits. But there was no tax pay coming in to help support that service. And over the last 20+ years, we've gotten to the point where we can no longer do that. Now, so to give you an example, Box Elder. Box Elder is the same size as Spearfish. I mean, it's 13,000 people and we support their, Spearfish has its own ambulance service. So they're pushing the county to either come up with their own ambulance service or pay the Rapid City Fire Department to be able to up staff and buy more ambulances to serve the county. Now, at the end of the day, none of this affects us because we have our own ambulance. That basically is probably what is going to happen is the county or the towns and stuff like that will come up with some sort of tax district or something to be able to financially support having the Rapid City Fire Department come out to their area, still run ambulance calls.
Okay.
I hope that explains it.
Yes, I get it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it doesn't affect Wall because we have our own ambulance service.
So Justin, I know on occasion they've met like in New Underwood and picked up transport. Are they doing that right now or not even?
So we still have a contract with them in the case of we have a call where we need some assistance. And mutual aid, they'll come out towards us. We'll meet somewhere halfway and their people will jump in the back of our ambulance. Say we need a paramedic or something, and then they'll ride with us to the hospital. Now, there's a flat cost to that. So anytime they have Rapid City Fire ambulance service person gets in the back of our ambulance and goes with us to the hospital, we'll get a bill for that. So it's approximately $250 per call. We don't usually need them. Only in dire circumstances do we call for them to come out and help us. Or if we have something big, we have a big car accident on the interstate where we need more than 1 or 2 ambulances, then they're coming out. So,
Okay.
otherwise we utilize like one. And they don't cost us anything.
I will, in fact, you run a little pretty hard.
Yes, it will.
That's under contract and they will continue to work with us.
Yes,
then.
yep,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep.
They see. Okay, very good.
Okay,
Right.
anything else? All right, thank you guys for checking.
Thank you, Joseph. Okay, is there anyone that needs to declare a conflict of interest for anything on the agenda this evening? Hearing and seeing none. The minutes of the last meeting are in the packet for June 22nd, 2026. But I have a motion to approve.
No move.
Second.
Dan moved, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. In your packet also was the city of Wall, the fire department, and library and cemetery claims. The city claims are amounts to $86,599.41. The fire department is $7,190.54. Library is $303.11, and cemetery is $118.31. Does anyone have any questions on any of the claims that have been submitted?
What was the total
You go ahead, Zach.
with the fire department? The total for the fire department?
We don't wanna talk about that.
Oh, okay.
No, we can't. We went to the railroad fire. And I was driving up and down the side hill, going back and forth, putting out the fire, and I slid open. Got stuck in between two trusses, so
No recovery.
we got the money back.
Good question.
Surprised you didn't see that on Snapchat. Everybody missed it.
So Mary, I have one, still getting familiar with, our airport and how it functions. And I understand that we pay a very small percentage of most of the bills out there. However, the airport engineer, is that our portion of an engineering bill?
Carol?
That is it's the total cost, and all of that gets submitted for reimbursement through the FAA funds,
Okay,
FFA.
so there is a
FAA
delay.
funds.
Okay, but how long of a delay?
Well, the checks have to be proven as cash, so I have to wait for Mead and Hunt to cash them. And then they submit the paperwork back to me to, verify and sign off on it. And they submit it. It's probably like a month before we get them back.
Was that ever, so that income we get, our reimbursement, is that ever reported in these monthly bills? The
No, but that's
reimbursement,
bills
this is a
and the
bill,
revenue.
we don't report on revenue.
No, it's in the revenue budget, but yeah, I don't present a revenue list.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the City of Wall Fire Department Library and Cemetery claims?
I just want to add too, there was two towing bills on there. One Prairie Schooner, and he hauled a fire truck down to Volta for us for repairs, so that's what the close. So
So move.
Back moved. Second. And Jerry seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, also for your review is the on-call schedule, employee overtime, sick and vacation report. The water usage, which compares this year to last year. The sales tax revenue report continues to be interesting, as well as what has been collected for BBB tax. And the budget reports, which include the revenue and expense, and that's what Carolyn was just referring to, Melanie, is that there's a revenue report and an expense report. The cash bank account balance report as of May 31st was included. And then also there's been some building permits that were approved. One for Wake and Bacon to move a portable building to 606 Glen Street. And also BJ's Country Store proceeded with replacing their roofing materials at 218 South Boulevard. Is there any comments or questions or thoughts on any of those reports for your review?
We have additional weeks too, right? We need for content. That's the problem.
That's item 16, so we'll do there shortly. Okay, that then brings us to our visitors, and we have a report from Stacia Smith about celebration?
She actually did not get the report to me, but I would just comment, so we haven't had a chance to meet to go over what our finances are of what we received, and so like all the bills for all of our purchases have.
And you're speaking for the celebration committee,
Yes,
right?
speaking.
Okay.
I'm one of the celebration
does-
committee members.
Have something.
If I could, I would prefer that maybe on the celebration, wait until we have a chamber meeting to discuss. Have an abstraction review, find out what went good, what went bad, before we report to the council on the finances, because now all the bills aren't paid, we know how much money came in. But they just picked the liquor up. Day before yesterday, I think, so
Did they pick
I
it
don't
up?
know.
No,
it's not even-
It's not been picked up yet, so
Well, the truck is there loading the coolers up. I guess.
that's all they took was the coolers.
So, yeah, so we really don't have a final number yet, but we will get together with, as a chamber, with the celebration committee and try and give you an overview of the whole celebration, so.
Generally,
I
how
was-
did you think it went, Wayne, or Carol?
Well, I was just gonna finish commenting that, if you get onto the celebration Facebook page, you can see who all the volunteers were that we had to make this event happen. A thank you that we've sent out to them, and that's what I wanted to bring attention to is it's a small committee, but we do have a lot of help and volunteers and all that, and I want to make sure that people are recognized for that. So please go out and visit that so you can see what kind of a crew it takes to make that event happen, so.
I thought it went well, but then again, I'm one person, I don't know how the other volunteers or anybody else felt about it, so maybe there's some ideas out there.
Because your parade was awesome, it was really long, it was quite a parade. And
Lots
secondly,
of candy,
what?
lots of candy in that parade.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
so I would just say, we'll get together with celebration committee, we'll report it in the chamber report when
Sure.
Michaela's back, so.
And I guess I wasn't looking for dollars and cents, because I know that's the case, but were the dances well attended and the law enforcement are saying they didn't have real problems or?
Yeah, I didn't see any law enforcement dancing, so. Well, that worked. No, I don't wanna leave Michaela out of the loop on it, I want her to be able to. Forward on when she gets back.
Numbers were down though, it looked like.
I
the
think
dances.
it's the right work, and maybe somebody has a reason for that too, I don't know. But thank you, we'll get back to you, probably next meeting when Michaela gets in.
With dollars and cents, that
Yep.
sounds great. So then, Dan Kurt, what would you like to visit with us about the PRCA rodeo? Again, not looking for dollars and cents, but
Yeah, I don't have no dollars and cents, but I wanna thank the city for the support for pro rodeo. You know, we start rodeo down there the 1st of May with a couple of little britches rodeos, high school practice rodeo that has 175 contestants. Then they go into a 4-H rodeo end of May with 250 contestants. Then we go into the first week of June with the regional high school rodeo, which is a 3-day event down there. And then we go into the pro rodeo. And the pro rodeo is growed every year. We had really good crowds all 3 nights. Thursday night, our Bronx burgers and beer. We are trying to get this ranch bronc riding going, and it's getting there. I think we're gonna sanction it with the Ranch Bronc Riding Association this next year. We're gonna make it even bigger. So we had really good crowds. As we went to the pro rodeo, the rodeo deals went up, skyrocketed. I mean, as far as attendance, I mean, we're going after the tourists and we're getting. One thing I noticed, gate people told us that, several of the people that come through there said, they actually stayed an extra day in the wall area because there was a rodeo in town. Getting on social media, get a lot of advertising locally, Facebook and everything, and going after the tourist industry, or the tourists that are around here, come see this rodeo, and I think if anybody was there, it's a professional rodeo, it's a professional show is what it amounts to. And I just want to thank the city for their support, the chamber supports us. I want to thank all our volunteers, if we get down there, help us put it on, we have a very small committee. There's 3 women and 2 men. That's our committee. So we, but it's going upward, it's been a success since, and we just want to keep it getting bigger.
Is there anything going on down there tonight?
Well, I thought, play days was supposed to start tonight. Yeah, play days was supposed to start tonight, I don't know if it did or not because of the heat. But that's once a week for the next 4 weeks. And then this fall, there'll probably be some Little Britches rodeos down there too. The rodeo events bring a lot of people to town. Anybody got any questions? I don't have no financials, because I'm a nuts and bolt guy.
You wouldn't,
Yeah.
I know when we were, Cindy and I were working at the beer sales there, and the foreign people commented, and there were quite a number of them, and they were just amazed that, first rodeo, and there were several of them said that they spent an extra night so that they could come to the rodeo.
Yeah. Well, I know that found that night, well, they said, well, how many people are here from a different country? Man, there was a whole lot of them spoke up, and I thought to myself, I hope the hell icing around here.
We had 3 from Germany come through the gate when we were doing that Friday night, and they were really anxious to get in there to see what was going on.
Yeah, oh yeah, after the race Saturday night, I don't know, there was 3 young gals there. Pickup man was getting his horses and, he started leading them across the arena, and they come up to me and said, can we ride his horse? And I said, well, you have to go out there and ask him.
They're not pickup men anymore, with them.
What's that?
Not pickup men anymore, the rescue riders.
That's right. So anybody have any questions?
Well, thank you for putting on a great event and everything. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah.
We sent 63 of our seasonal employees Friday night, and they were just amazed. They'd seen stuff on TV, but they really enjoyed the rodeo.
Yeah, we had a specialty act, which the young guy, the kid's only 19 years old. They put on that, he's a trick roper. And he's actually from south of Rushville, Nebraska, where he's from. And he's his last name is Miner, and he's pretty good. I was impressed with him. He had fire in his act and shot fireworks off, like I say, it's a show.
And the good thing about you sending your international workers, it was the first time when I went back to the ticket booth, there was a whole bunch of bikes parked there. And that was something I hadn't seen before. So that was very cool. So thank you for doing. Okay, thank you, Dan.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna go. Yeah, right.
Okay, that brings us to Wayne Shaw, agenda request then.
Interesting. Well, happy anniversary. I guess we started on this about 1 year ago next month, trying to get something done with the pickleball courts, so. I'm hoping tonight you can find your way to approve putting a surface on the tennis courts. I understand that it's in the public, that there's 7 people that play pickleball. Well, that's not true. There were 7 people that put together this committee for trying to get something done so we had a surface to play on. And I'm sure there are more in here that have played and want to play if we have it, so we can. The other part is we'll take care of the lines and the nets, but we will not put a surface down if it isn't fenced, because the surface won't be good for bikes or skateboarders or anything like that. It's, it'd almost be a hazard if they were on their skateboards and wrecking, because it's a little bit of an abrasive surface. And, yeah, so I sent the J&J bid back with it. I talked to Dave Jedlick, and he said if you have anybody do it, have these guys do it, because they've got the best crew in Rapid. But it's a $51,519, and there's a 1.5% interest charge after 30 days, and it's been after 30 days since I presented it the first time or got the bid, so. I guess the pickleball's in your court.
I had visited with Brian from Western Construction. He was gone until Monday. And we were trying to get together this week. I had appointments in working harvest. We were supposed to get together today. And I had to move some appointments, and I have not been able to get with him for him to look at it to see what he wanted to charge for it, Wayne. We are still working.
I guess that's kind of what we've been up against for a year though, Jerry, so.
But we can't just take one bid. I don't think that's legal for the city, is it? Just one bid on a project?
Yeah, I think you can, for specialty services like this, I mean, if you're gonna put out a request for bids for, public improvement, then you need 3 bids and.
I thought you said they wouldn't get it done until this fall.
What's that?
I thought you had said at the last meeting they wouldn't get it done until this fall.
Well, they'll never get it done if we don't sign off on it and say we want you to do it.
But give me another week and I'll have another estimate. We have,
But we're up against a year, Jerry.
I know, but
Sooner or later, you gotta.
we can't have our city park just limited to one special group that can use one little area. We spend 50,000 on it and not allow the kids to play with their skateboards on it. I don't
Well,
understand.
they could play with their skateboards on it. We're just gonna strike it so they can and have nets up there. We're not putting the surface down that would be damaged by bikes or skateboards.
Okay, so.
And if you figure 50,000 over how many years, of maintaining that, it's probably $2,000 a year. It was put in the 80s. Or less than that. We really haven't done much but removed a north fence and removed the post for the tennis fence. Thank Dennis, or thanks Garrett for getting that stuff taken care of, because.
It's been sealed a couple times, that's about like sealing. And.
But still,
Just paying.
Still, we're looking at, 40 some years, and,
So the fence isn't to keep other people out? Yes, I didn't understand. You said you needed.
if it's a fence, if we fence it, then it keeps bikes and skateboards out of that area. Not like we talked, the
Just the
north end would be fenced, and the south end would be for basketball and whatever else. But even the surface on there for basketball right now isn't great.
Have you seen it yet today?
I went and looked at it last week, and Garrett had he'd had the asphalt in over the old pole holes. After we went and looked at it that day, he has that taken care of.
We pulled a bunch of the old. Patching out of it and then put in some patching, no, it's not perfect.
This part that you parked on?
We. Not on the west end,
Yeah, on the west.
wherever the heavy cracks were in the playing area, we filled it with asphalt and sealed it up.
And filled in
It
cracks.
still needs more.
Yeah, no, it, yes. But yeah, no, we didn't do anything with the west end because and in my opinion, I think after when we were putting that asphalt in there and packing it, I could feel vibrating underneath me like there's separation, and I don't. And there were like, I think there's only like 1 inch in a couple spots.
Well, this is definitely a council decision, but one of the things I did look at is the budget. And under parks, first of all, it's not in the budget, this, a $50,000 expenditure is not in the budget. And the three line items that I would think it might come out of have a balance in them right now. One has 1,400 and the other one 1,100 and the third one 27. And my concern, Wayne, is we have just hit like mid-year. And so trying to go outside of the budget for this right now.
Okay.
Is gonna be challenging,
Well-
I think, for the council to make that decision.
Then I'll let
With
Jerry get
different
another
ones.
bid from, Pete and Reed, that is
Western.
Western Construction. And request that we get this amount put in the budget for next year,
That,
maybe 60,000. Cause
That-
maybe that,
that seems much
if
more.
that's the best we can do, then I guess we'll have to accept that. We'll go with it.
And I also, want to bring to your attention that we have committed for next year for working with drainage, for the city, and that's gonna be a $400,000 expenditure. So we only have so many dollars, and I'm sure try to make them go as far as we can. But yes, this should be a budget committee discussion when
Either
we
that,
start on
or
that.
either that, or you let us apply for grants. And let us apply for them, let us get the grants. And maybe not. Divert them off somewhere else.
Absolutely, every financial help possible would be very much appreciated as we move forward. Well, trying to work with this,
I believe Derek's gonna have some bad news for us on his report.
yeah, I don't even want to hear about that one, but.
I have a question for the council. If we have a community facility and there are active people within the community who want to use that facility, why does it take? You're just talking about a 2-year gap between when it was first presented to the council and when you might get funding for it. Why does it take that long for the council to make a decision on it? And wouldn't the council be interested in investing in a property that the community owns and that community members want to use? Because it's as Wayne said, it's beyond just 7 people using the pickleball court. There are other people who are very involved in pickleball and want to use the facility, but it is in the state that it is in. So I'm wondering why we aren't supporting as a council upgrading a community facility.
Well, when you mention community facility, I also know that this community facility has been made available. Is there a charge for you guys to use this?
No, we keep the floor clean after any event.
Yes, you do. You are marvelous about that. Thank you, Wayne. And you're here once or twice a day
It's
sometimes.
twice a day, but the times that we play don't fit everybody. I know there were people that played prior to, the tennis courts. Two families went up there and played in the mornings. When it was still cool out and they could do that, so. It's just, we gotta, as a city, we gotta maintain what we have.
Sure.
We can't, I don't think we need to look at putting anything else in until we fix up what we have, take care of what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, doesn't just pertain to pickleball, that's everything. Businesses, everything. Take care of our businesses, chamber needs to maybe do a better job, take care of businesses. The council, take care of the chamber. You know, the ball rolls downhill with everybody, so. we're all in this, we're all in it together, and, it's just the way we need to look at it. We can't let something fall down because it looks bad on us as a city, I guess, and you know, our park's important. Park is very important to the city and we need to maintain it.
I'd like to see a little more money spent in the city park up there. That north side of that park would be nice to have, side there, bushes and shrubs there.
Well, we've got a nice playground set up there now that gets used a lot. There's always people up there using the playground set. We've had some water problems. It's not maybe, you know, the reason they call us lake flat is because the water stands here, and when we have a water leak in the park, it just seems like it sits over by the end of the south end of the tennis courts.
Well, that
And it's
is
nasty.
all the water from Second Avenue drained down there through the park too.
But anyway, I'm getting water a little bit, so appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Oh, Jim.
I was just gonna say, you know, tourists with kids would love to have cheap alternatives. You know, the drugstore is free. Free things are great with people with 5 kids, because you can't afford to even hardly go to the movies anymore. So I mean, even simple things like a park, a super good park, people remember that and will come back again with their kids and then their kids' kids. So, I mean, that's what you're trying to do.
Right. Thank you, Jim.
Mary, I have a friend that lives up in Harding County, and they are putting in a beautiful pickleball court. And they got a grant for it, and I don't remember how much it was, but it's out there.
Cool.
But they've got, Wayne,
Yeah, can you share that with Wayne and?
It's from the South Dakota Community Foundation, which we tried.
I think you're right.
Okay, all right, let's move on then, and that would bring us to 14.5.
I was actually gonna do this last meeting, but the way the agenda was laid, it didn't get. And I can't do it under public comments because I can't say what I want to say in 3 minutes without spitting. So this doesn't require any action. I just want to make an address to you, the council, and to everyone that's sitting in our room tonight. So good evening, friends and neighbors. In small rural America, volunteerism is not just something nice we do because we have so much extra time. It is the heartbeat of our community. It is how our fire and ambulance departments respond, how our community events happen, how our churches, schools, annual celebrations, boards, and committees keep going. It is how a small town turns limited resources, which we've already heard, into a full and meaningful life. In big cities, they may be paid staff for doing every one of these tasks that we're talking about. But in our town, in Wall, we know the truth. If someone does not step forward, the job probably won't get done. If no one volunteers for the committee, the celebration may not happen. If no one serves on a board, decisions cannot be made. If no one gives an evening, a Saturday morning, or a piece of their heart, the things we love about our small town begin to fade. That's why I printed it. Okay, that is why we need to be deeply grateful to these people that do say yes. And we have several in our community. A lot of them are the same faces at every single event. They are people who sit through long meetings all day at work and then come to another meeting in the evenings. It's the people who help organize the fundraisers, serve on the councils, plan events, coach children, show up when people need help. Volunteers build trust, they strengthen relationships, and they create the kind of civic life that makes rural communities like Wall resilient and proud. However, tonight I want to speak plainly about something that can discourage people from serving. No volunteer should ever fear that their business, their employer, their family livelihood will suffer because someone disagreed with their vote. perhaps followed a rule they felt compelled to obey, made a decision, or how they handled a difficult situation. We can disagree, we can debate, we can ask questions. In fact, healthy disagreement, in my experience, is always a part of good decision making. But disagreement should never turn into retaliation, intimidation, gossip, boycotts, or efforts to hurt someone's work or reputation. When that happens, we do more than harm that one person. We send a message to every other potential volunteer that by volunteering, they are going to have to pay a personal price. And if people begin to believe that, they will stop raising their hands. We need volunteers who are willing to be independent, act honestly, and make hard choices for the good of Wall. If every board member or committee member must first ask, will this hurt my business? Will this upset someone enough to punish my employer? Then we have created a community where fear is louder than service. I want to believe that that is not who we are. But are we, guys? Small town America works best when neighbors remember that we are still neighbors after this meeting ends tonight. We may sit on opposite sides of an issue, but still greet each other with respect tomorrow. We may vote differently and still buy from each other, work beside each other, and show up when someone is in need. So my challenge is this: let us protect the spirit of volunteerism. Let us encourage more people to serve, not scare them away. Let us hold each other accountable with fairness and not anger. Let us disagree with dignity. And let us remember that the people serving on our boards and our committees are not enemies when they make a decision we dislike. They are our neighbors, giving their time because they care. We need to be better than this, folks. Better in how we talk, better in how we respond, better in how we treat the people willing to do the hard and often thankless work of keeping a small town moving forward. If we want to enjoy the life of small town America here in Wall, we must also protect the people who make this possible. So let us choose respect, let us choose service, let us choose community. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to public comments. Time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council with any issue on or not on the agenda. Actions will not be taken on the issue until it can be added to the next meeting's agenda. Each person would have 3 minutes to address their concerns. Do we have anyone that would like to speak in public comments?
I'm gonna piggyback off Mel here a little bit, so that's gonna be hard to follow. I'm here to speak my piece on the barrage of public comments that have been made about the competency and the integrity of the recount board from the June election here in Wall by members of the public, members of this council, and members of this council's family. 5 community members volunteered their time to serve on the recount board. School business manager, a licensed attorney, a former teacher and successful business owner here in Wall, and the 2 managers of the financial institutions here in Wall. None of us had ever served in that capacity before. Yet we stepped forward because we believed in helping our community and ensuring confidence in our election process. From the beginning of the recount, questions arose regarding the procedures and ballot handling. The recount board was provided zero guidance. That's my alarm. We were asked to sign an oath that was never formally administered. We were given stacks of ballots that were not secured in a box. We were given a tally sheet and simply expected to begin. And if any of you have now taken the time to read through the procedures on recounts, you will see that all of this was incorrect from the beginning. I don't know how to be any more clear. The recount board was not provided any training, instruction, direction, or oversight on how to even conduct a recount. At each table, there was a booklet outlining procedures, but several of the listed procedures had already not been followed. No one present offered any guidance when questions arose, despite the fact that this was a process none of us had ever previously performed. The recount took place under protest after some discussion. Concern arose during the mayoral recount when significant discrepancies were discovered, including unstamped ballots. And in a race decided by such a narrow margin, Finding a difference large enough to change the outcome naturally raised questions. I believe most reasonable people would agree that under these circumstances, two things should have happened. First, the ballots should have been counted again on election night when the race was so close and the ballots kept secured, which they were not. And second, someone experienced in recount procedures should have been available to provide direction and ensure confidence in the process. Personally, I asked multiple times that night whether ballots could be counted again, when it appeared that there were more ballots being counted than there were voters. Those requests were not acted upon because no one had an answer. The recount board's duty was to recount the ballots, and we did our best to fulfill that responsibility. However, when that amount of discrepancy appeared and no guidance was available, some of us were placed in a position where we had to make a difficult decision based on our own understanding of what we believed was right. My decision not to sign that final form was not an act of obstruction or disrespect. It was based on my sincere belief that unanswered questions remained and that additional direction was needed before I could, in good conscience, certify my agreement. I acted in according to what I believe was morally and ethically correct. I'm here tonight on public record to ask that the public and this council extend some grace to those of us who volunteered to serve their town. The members of the recount board did not create this train wreck of circumstances that we faced. We were citizens attempting to help our community, navigating an unfamiliar process without training or guidance. Criticism is fair, but personal attacks on volunteers and their competency absolutely is not. Moving forward, I hope that this experience becomes an opportunity for each of you to improve your procedures, to provide proper training, and ensure that any future boards have the support and direction that they need. This will better serve our community rather than placing blame on individuals who stepped up.
Thank you. Do you have any other public comments this evening?
I think I have one.
Okay.
You know, what's strange about the election thing is, you know, especially with me, we've had a discussion about elections in the past. Specifically 2020, when I discussed with the board about the South Dakota. You guys remember what I'm talking about? The 2020 election, when I visited in private with you guys about some goings on. But anyway, these being the facts, you'd think you guys would understand the importance of election, of the stability, is what I described as the people don't believe that the election's fair, they're gonna stop believing that the system is working. And I tried to explain that to you guys in 2020. When I felt like there was some shenanigans in Peter. Okay? So I just want everyone to remember that. Because it seems like after I gave that speech about elections and how things are to be run, that it would be absolutely taken care of by now. When Kristi Noem was governor, we talked about. Okay? So I don't know how this happened, but it seems like more of the same. Okay?
Thank you, Jim. Okay, any other comments? That moves on to the conditional use permit that has been submitted by Common Sense, which is in your folder.
Isn't that what the always do? I make a motion to approve that.
Okay, so this is to put a storage container in the parking lot for the rally. So the motion was made by Rich and Jerry seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The other item is a conditional use permit by Jordan Hornbaker requesting for an Airbnb at 609 Norris. And in that permit application, he had submitted the appropriate signatures from surrounding neighbors, as you can see listed. Also his South Dakota Department of Health lodging license as well as an EIN number, which would indicate his application for a sales tax license, I believe. So do we have a motion to approve?
I have a question, Annie. With an Airbnb, does our ordinance not say that we need, the owner will need $1 million liability coverage? And do we have a copy of that? And do we not require that?
The way, am I right, Zach, that you have to prove that to the Airbnb people? Because we've never required any paperwork on that. Our conditional use permit form has never asked for that, I guess, so.
Yeah, there's, stuff like that for the Airbnb, or company that it goes through.
Okay.
They have to have insurance. Have it.
Did that answer your question?
But I
think it's in our ordinance.
I-
I'm just trying to find it. I did say that from here. I thought I
I
had.
guess we've never received any paperwork from prior Airbnbs, you know, they just, once we knew that Airbnbs asked or required that, and that they could show it then.
Do they require that annually?
Annually? I'm not sure.
Do you have to pay for it annually? I'm assuming.
No, they take out per stay.
So it's an amount. Okay,
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Zach is moved
Second.
and Dan seconded. Any other further discussion?
So quick, Nathan, would you suggest, if we have a conditional use permit and we're giving them permission to run such business, do you think that we should require that be provided to us just to ensure that they do have it? Because that could be, do you have to go through the Airbnb app, or are there different type of programs?
You upload it to, and there's different vacation rental or websites or whatever, but yeah, you just upload it to that site, showing that you have the insurance. You upload it to if you're with Airbnb,
It might not be a bad idea.
just to show.
Yeah.
so in the event that one of our Airbnbs gets sued, and in our ordinance, we say we require that, and they don't have it, what happens?
Well, I don't see that in the requirements, and I'm just thumbing through it on the fly here, so I don't know, every provision.
ordinance.
But the ordinance does provide the ability to meet state law, registration requirements with the Department of Health. I'm gathering from Zach's comments that that's where that liability comes from. I don't think that the city council is liable for an accident where somebody doesn't have insurance. I don't think that by approving a conditional use that somehow makes the city council liable for that. I still think that's between the homeowner and the guest. But to answer your question, Mike, I think you can put conditions on that conditional use to prove, for example, that they are in compliance with Department of Health registration and that sort of thing.
Which they did everything else, so they did everything else.
So with that being said, Carolyn, for the next planning and zoning meeting, which we're starting to accumulate things, and a reason to have such a meeting. Let's put that on to review the conditional use permit application. And whether that would be something we need to add to meet our ordinances. Specifically, so with that being said, I do have a motion on the floor that's been moved and seconded to apply or to approve this conditional use application. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. But let's do move forward on that and within planning and zoning. Okay, that brings us then to item number 17. canvassing of the election recount certificates. And I have asked, Amy, who was a common individual on both those boards, to speak. And I've asked Carolyn to provide, you with copies, of what she's going to be reviewing. Just give her a second here. We need to get going. Take one and
There are two different things.
Yeah.
Amy, please.
Like Mary asked, I was asked to come tonight and to read the certificate of recount for the Ward 1 council and the mayor. My name is Amy Bissett and I was on the recount board as a neutral party for both. For the Ward 1 city council, the recount for that, Lily Stone received 63 votes, Rick Husted 62. However, during the recount, 7 votes were discovered to not hold the official stamp. All 7 ballots were for Rick Husted. When not including the unstamped ballots in the recount, the votes are as follows: 63 votes for Lily Stone and 55 votes for Rick Husted. Now, for the municipal election for mayor, the recount for Mary Williams, the recount number was 153 for Mary Williams and 150 for Gordy Kraut. However, during the recount, 13 ballots were discovered to not hold the official stamp. 1 ballot for Mary Williams and 12 ballots for Gordy Kraut. When not including the unstamped ballots in the recount, total votes are as follows: 152 votes for Mary Williams and 138 votes for Gordy Kraut.
Amy, those aren't the numbers on our certification, are they? Is that what we're looking at here? Do I have?
Was it also determined that all of those, non-stamped ballots were from early or absentee ballots were folded differently?
That's what the recount
Yep.
came out.
That
Okay, I'm sorry.
I believe so, but that.
And then, but also because of the statute, as a recount board, we could have, and we were not instructed to, but we could have either disregarded this non-stamped ballots, meaning that they were just handled wrong, or number 2, agree with it, well, they weren't stamped, so we don't count them per statute. And we weren't told to do one thing with those.
What does a stamp mean?
It's an official stamp that, that the ballots are stamped with. So if they're not holding a stamp, it's not supposed to be a valid
I got you.
ballot.
Huh,
But as the statute said,
Okay, now, I asked her to come and explain.
I know, I'm just explaining
Okay,
that why we didn't count those.
thank you, Doug. Okay, I asked Amy to come and explain to the council, who I don't know if any of them had seen this paperwork or not. And I asked her to explain what kind of a document that they submitted as they were directed to do by the Secretary of State. And so we are not here to rehash what was or how it was done. And so thank you, Amy, for sharing that information for us. So then that moves us to item number.
Mary, I have
17th, then, Carolyn, please, what is, the canvas for the council to approve? And Kelly?
I have a question or a comment. I'm not disregarding Amy. I'm trying to explain. And you're not. I'm trying to explain about the unstamped ballots.
Okay, please do.
I did. The statute said that we could count them or not count them, but we were not instructed one way or the other to disregard or to count them. And if you would read the statute, it says that as the recount board, we can count them. We have not gotten back together to say one word about it.
Would that have changed the outcome of the election?
Yeah.
How?
No.
Oh,
Well, Amy, you know, there's more that went on.
Okay,
Right.
we are not going to attack each other. I asked Amy to come and just talk. And let's remember what was said by Hope tonight, because she made some excellent points. So with that, then, do you have a document, Carolyn, that?
So here's the officials that were turned in to me, and I just have everybody to sign it. And so that's.
So Nathan, am I allowed to ask you questions before I do this?
You can ask.
Yeah.
Certainly ask certain questions.
Before I do this, I just want to make sure that,
But before you do, we do need to have a motion to approve the canvas, and then we can have discussion.
You know, what I think we should do is that there's been a lot of controversy in this election, and please don't sign anything right now.
Rick, as a matter of procedure, I do tend to think that Mary is right. We should have a motion and a second and then discussion on things.
I agree.
So,
One motion and second on what?
what to do with item number 17?
But
Well,
that's to accept the results, correct?
One way,
What would be the
one way or the other, some action item
well,
before there's discussion on it.
I have the right to talk, basically.
Sure. That's my advice on proper procedure.
I heard you.
And that is proper.
You know what's not proper procedure? It's Gordy Kraut winning the mayoral election. And there's no problem with the recount boards. The recount boards the recount board did really good under great duress with, as Hope said, without much instruction or any. And the original board, they did well. And that is the most accurate election. What happened in between to those ballots where they, and I think that we should vote on the mayoral or
the ward.
and the wards separately, or, and if we have second documents, that's not, that's fine. When Lily and mine and Lily's here, Grace, when the recount board came up with 62, 63, I thought, yeah, that's cool. You know, Lily won the race, it's on the level. And then when the mayoral count came in at 303, when the original election had 300 votes, and we heard there were 3 unmarked ballots. I mean, I think the board did great, but the documents, the votes, the record keeping, the handling was horrible. And I'm not signing off on that on the mayoral race, and I would recommend other council members not to. Because I think Gordy won the race, he should be seated, he should take the oath.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Problem two, it's regarding just my council race, because we all know it did not change polls, it did not change election results for my race. So actually in practice, if you look at Sioux Falls, so by the law, no action needs to be taken. You can acknowledge that they did not change my vote. But I don't believe it needs to be on it.
There's no change.
Can I just ask, how do unmarked ballots get anywhere near this election? How does that happen? And who marks them? Who is in charge of marking them? That'd be a good question. And then, but how do these even enter the building? Or get anywhere close to, I mean, but to me, every vote counts. But we've gotta have a procedure that the people trust. That's my opinion, but I did, the whole thing of unmarked ballots even coming up, how do they even get in the building on election day? You know what I'm saying? How's that happen? I'm confused.
They're stamped when they're given out.
Okay.
They were
Supposed to be
absentee
stamped as.
Absentees, okay.
Ken, did you have any comment on this?
I do, if I may. As you know, from last time I represent Gordy Kraut from Matter. Since last meeting, I've sent to you all via email and again tonight in hard copy. Gordy's on his behalf, his official objection to the recount certification or any kind of recount. Because you can't recount something that's not there. And what's not there? Original ballots, or at least untainted ballots. Or at least those ballots that appear that could have been tainted. That's the thing. It's not saying anybody did anything wrong, except like was pointed out earlier. The custodial aspect of this, the ballots was completely contrary to law. As negligence, from a negligence standpoint, it's a misdemeanor. From a purposeful tampering, it's class 6 felony. So this is serious stuff, and there's a saying I always like, that is, an opinion is only as sound as the facts it's based upon. Well, in this case, the opinion is the final recount. Well, look, and the facts are each and every vote and where they may or may not have come from. You don't have solid facts, so you have a solid recount. Point of matter is, you don't have the ballots that can be verified to be, from the original count on election night back into a sealed box. That sealed box gets put away in the safe and it's under the care, custody, and control, in this case, of the city finance officer. Those ballots don't go anywhere. That box does not open up for anybody until recount night. And a recount team gets together and they are presented with the ballot box. Not the ballots tied with a bunch with a rubber band. That stinks to high heaven. And what's been also going around a lot is, well, it's not the recount committee, and they did their job of what they had to work with. And, but when you're presented the way it was presented with, there's no wonder they didn't feel in good conscience that they could move forward with a solid recount. And it's also been said a lot going back and forth that, well, it's just the counter's job is to count it, not worry about the legality of them. Well, I strongly disagree with that. Strongly disagree with that. Why would you have somebody count something that's not valid? If you want to know the truth.
Mr. Hay,
The other thing, one
Mr.
final
Hay,
thing there.
my dear friend.
Hmm?
You have every opportunity to take this to court if you want to. I object to the letter that you wrote that points out that our finance officer was grossly negligent.
What would you call it, Nina?
So if you want to prove that case, you take it to court. You have the opportunity to do that under the recountability.
Absolutely.
We have asked Amy to come here and speak for the recount board. She indicated that there was 303 votes. She's gone through that. She documented that with the rest of the recount committee. And so I am not here, and the council does not need to listen to your court presentation. You can file it with whoever circuit judge or whatever allows you to do.
Nathan, she shouldn't even be discussing this. She has a conflict of interest in this whole matter.
So
I think the council does need to hear this. This has been very controversial.
I would listen to him.
The community
To save the community
deserves
some
to
money.
hear this.
I would, if I was you guys, I would listen to this gentleman, at least hear him out, Mary. At least hear him out, because the city don't need another lawsuit with $125,000. So at least just hear the man out.
Let me just advise the council here, okay? The council does not elect the mayor. The council is not in charge of the recount board. The recount board is an independent body requested by the candidates with one member appointed by the, or I should say nominated by the city finance officer. The city council doesn't give them direction on how to do anything or what to do. At this point, they've just presented a document for the city council. And I think the city council is not the judge, jury, and executioner here. You don't adjudicate whether the recount board validly convened or whether certain votes are valid or not. You certainly don't determine whether someone's committed a misdemeanor or a felony, as has kind of been suggested. And I don't think, my opinion and advice to the council is, you don't rule on objections from attorneys. You're not an adjudicated body. So I don't think that there's a decision to be made by the council about whether to throw out votes or.
We're not.
I think you either receive the recount certificate or not.
Receive it.
We have to sign off on it. I'm not signing off on the mayor one. I don't think it was fair. I think Gordy won the race. I think there's all kinds of crazy things that went on. And it's gonna get us in a lot of trouble. And I think the really valid election and results was June 2nd.
With all due respect to council, I understand what he's saying, and why you're saying it. It is, but at council, because you are the first judge and jury here, if you certify what's been given to you as gospel. You can't make a decision or sign on with something in a vacuum, like, oh, there it is, yeah, we received it. How the heck does that? It doesn't.
Is that the same as hearsay that there's 3 extra hampered votes?
Right, that goes to the very heart of the problem, exactly right, Mr. Hall. Is because when you do, like just right now, having a debate about the 303, was there 300 will stand? Well, nobody knows the damn thing with any certainty because it didn't come out of the box. They came in a bundle. Or anybody could have done that. And I'm saying it's the appearance of impropriety and tampering. I'm not saying it had to have been or was, but we don't know that at all. We can't know that because they weren't held secure. The evidence is tainted, in other words. And even in 9-13-2723, which we've heard that statute thrown around quite a bit, is that in the third sentence of the bottom of that statute, it in part provides the person having custody of the ballot boxes containing the ballots to be recounted shall deliver them, meaning boxes, to the recount board. Okay, not deliver the ballot in bundles, but deliver the ballot boxes that contain the ballots. Language is very clear. Nobody's disputed that statute yet. Try to manipulate that statute. I'm just saying that the board, the city council, the city is been provided a letter. It's among other things, it demands that all evidence regarding this matter and it's very clear, I won't read it all, because it's a 3-page letter. But, you're under, pre-litigation, directive and demand to preserve evidence, okay? So, because that's where we're headed. What happened, didn't happen correctly. That's all we're saying. The only thing with any integrity at all is the original count on that night before anybody had any opportunity to take it out of the box or not put it in the box, or where the hell the box went. So, I'll ask the finance officer and the council that, that letter be made part of the minutes as well as this, my discussion here, appreciate your time, whereby we are putting the city on notice of an objection to recount findings and their validity, because they're not. And it also that, you're basing any decision on tainted, wrong, unreliable, invalid, illegitimate, whatever adjective you want to use, findings. That's, I'm putting that before you because I gotta go on record to do that. Very important.
You're saying that our recount board did all this, they did everything wrong too?
No, not at all.
I gotta go by the recount.
That's
telling me they did things right.
So what did they count?
The ballots that they had. And then in their last meeting, I thought we were under the understanding that municipalities didn't follow the same rules as county and state as far as locked ballots and. No, so I'm really starting to get confused. I do think it's gonna take a judge.
It is confusing, and that's why I mentioned a little bit ago that, the misnomer that the recount committee or this council, anybody makes these decisions in a vacuum is wholly inaccurate and flies in the face of keeping the ballots as they're cast originally sacrosanct. That's it, and it starts and ends right there. The minute those were not put back in a sealed box until the recount committee got to them, that's where it all ended right there. You have no other legitimate finding, vote count or canvassing, which is already, it's the only certificate you guys have now. The only one.
If a majority of the council doesn't sign off on the mayoral certificate of recount, can we make a motion to seek Gordy and have him take an oath?
That would be wholly appropriate, yes.
Okay, we have a city attorney too. Thank you, Mr. Hague, for your comments. And we asked the recount board to do their job at the last meeting. And they
have a question for the
and
council.
they did do their job. And our city attorney has suggested to us that we receive the recount certificates. Nobody has to sign off then, or we just,
Mary,
Mayor,
I have a
Yes.
question for the city council.
thank you for your question, but I also have a question for our city attorney. And I'm trying to get direction. Thank you.
I've been getting, looks from, Councilmember Shaw. And I don't want you to be, shut down here, so did you have something?
My questions concern the recounts. So, and legality of suspended recount. So before I can even consider, I just want to make sure we did do everything correctly. And I don't know if that falls on us or if it falls on who after you spoke. But so our recount committee first met on June 15th. And there were discrepancies, as noted, and the members didn't feel comfortable signing. And then they later received an email directing them that they needed to reconvene prior to our June 22nd council meeting and that they needed to certify. And then Amy came before the board and spoke that 4 out of the 5 still did not feel comfortable certifying. And then I don't know what day the mayor one was signed, what day was the mayor certified. What was that?
This the.
June 26th.
So June 26th, the committee reconvened again and then successfully certified. My question is, at the end of those first and second meetings, is there a legal? Was it legally suspended in a way that allowed them to continue meeting? Is there a statute out there that says that it has to formally be suspended? And then if there is, and we did it, which I don't think we did it, but if there is, and they did reconvene, were all parties that were affected by these recounts supposed to have been notified of the reconvening? I don't know the answer. I tried to look. I don't know the answer to that. Do you?
The only statute that I think applies to recounts is the one that Mr. Hague referenced, 19-13-2723, which is specific to municipalities. It does say that a candidate, I believe a candidate has a right to be present for a recount, and the recount board is supposed to proceed expeditiously until completed. What does that mean? I don't know, but as you have laid out, I understood that council had requested that the recount board reconvene and try to come to some completion or conclusion, which they, on my understanding, is that they attempted to do that. And then the Secretary of State provided a message, which I relayed at the city council meeting. I believe that was on Monday, June 22nd. That the Secretary of State did not believe that the role of the recount board was to determine the validity of votes, just to recount and certify the winner. So that's my understanding when the recount board reconvened, if you will, or signed off on the certificate of recount.
So in that case, my question is, the election is with the current mayor and someone that won the first vote and didn't win the second, but I don't know, did Gordy was ever notified were you notified when the reconvening was done? So I don't know if that's fair or not fair or insider, I don't know, but it just seemed. Just, I had a question, I guess, and there is no answer to what you're telling
And
me.
again, my comment is that this is not a city council job or decision to make. It's a recount board. If it's a dispute between the candidates, then they can bring that to a judge, and they have their rights and remedies set forth in statute for them to employ that. But I don't think that it's, I don't think the city council has the power or the right to interpret statutes and determine whether that was done right or wrong. It's just did you receive a recount certificate? What's the vote that's been presented to you?
Thank you.
That's just my opinion.
That's your,
Yeah.
So receiving the certificate of recounts and disputes appears to be the direction that you're indicating that the council needs to move forward with, that we accept what the recount board did.
I don't think you need to stamp it as approved or anything like that. It's acknowledging that it's on file with the city.
Yep. That we received the document, but that's it.
Yeah.
We don't have to make a decision on it.
No, because that needs to go to court.
The question for the citizens of Wall. On behalf of the citizens of Wall, because at the heart of this is the integrity of the election. It isn't whether Gordy wins or Mary William wins. If I can go as an ordinary citizen to the Secretary of State's website and pull off the regulations and the stipulations and the procedures for how an election is supposed to be handled and how the ballots are to be secured and sealed prior to any recount. Why wasn't our city finance officer, who was in charge of the election, did she not follow those directions to ensure the integrity of every vote that every citizen made was valid. That's at the heart of this whole discussion, the integrity of those ballots. And if I, as an individual citizen, can read in plain English how the ballots were supposed to be handled, why wasn't our paid city finance officer, why did she not do that?
Thank you for your comments. Okay, with that,
I wanna hear from Kim. We have your side, Mary. We're talking about you have a conflict with this anyway. We need to hear the other side.
A couple things to follow is that, again, I respectfully disagree with regard to anytime you put your name to something, you put your signature on it. You're saying not only did you receive it, but you are acknowledging the results of what's on that paper. That's about as fundamental as it gets. Do you want to acknowledge those results as accurate? I don't think you want to. And again, going back to the statute, it doesn't talk about, it's a non-starter. When those ballots left the ballot box, I don't know if they were ever put back in the ballot box after the original count or not. As if they were supposed to be placed back in there, resealed, so it's tamper-proof. That was not done, or if it was done, it was later altered and presented to the recount committee in tied up with rubber bands. That's a non-starter, folks. You're stuck with what you got that first time around, because it wasn't the custody and care and control that those ballots, those sacred ballots, was not handled correctly. It basically invalidated any subsequent finding from that original count, canvass, and certification.
thank you.
That being the case, I think I don't have any problem with the recount board, but with the ballots in the interim, they were not handled properly. I don't think if you feel how I do, and I don't think we should sign that. And if we don't have a majority sign it, I'd like to make a motion to seat Gordy Kraut as mayor and have him take the oath tonight. He won the election and the water has been so muddy that, you know, I just don't think in good conscience we should sign off on the mayoral.
So I guess there's been a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
What's a motion?
Her motion was to sign these, wasn't it?
No.
Thank you.
Carolyn, was to reject the recount vote and then.
It's very
And so from the clear speaking authority.
It's not a clear motion.
He is making a motion to seat Gordy. based
Oh, I'm
on
sorry,
the-
I was talking about it earlier.
Okay, you're in favor of accepting the document.
I guess I feel like I have to, both candidates asked for a recount. But I was told, and again, we were all hearing different things. Tonight, of course, I heard 3 suspicious ballots. Before I heard that there was 3 extra votes, but if they counted the registration sheet that they matched the registration matched the votes. I don't think there was 3 extra. We don't know that if but it keeps confusing with the whole matter. So I'm going to say that I have the recount in front of me. I for our community, I think we've got to go with the recount.
But Jerry, yeah, I don't know that.
Is there a motion? We'll table
I
it.
don't know what motions I do. That's what I asked Carol.
I think, did you make a motion? I just want to get us on right.
I
think we're getting that document handed down for the opportunity for people to sign it. And then whatever happens.
Well, what does that document say? Does it say we're accepting the?
If you read it, it says, yes, you agree with the results. Agree.
Okay.
So to address Mr. Morgan's question,
We accept the document.
to address Mr. Morgan's question about
And
the
not
three
sign anything.
ballots, subsequent info regarding the recount. Again, it doesn't matter at all, because those ballots were invalidated and tainted the minute they were not kept under sealed box. So the recount committee, as wonderful as they are, and as good of citizens as they are, and they are, to perform this thankless freaking job. They didn't feel comfortable with what they were seeing.
We shouldn't have counted them that night. Being honest. We never should have counted.
When they weren't sealed.
Yep.
So any recount you can't trust. Because even if nothing happened, even if they were safe and sound, which I will presume that is the case, but because they weren't kept safe and sound, you can't count them again. You're stuck with what you got the first time. I'm sorry.
First of all, talk about the three ballots that you gotta have bowling now in.
I want, yeah, but I can read it. I have not seen it.
Wow.
I don't think we need to sign it
I don't
legally.
ask, I'll make a motion to accept.
Because it was
the
the same, so
certificates
it doesn't, it's valid.
of
Let's just add another member or two, and then we won't have any controversy.
Well, one thing, we got two signatures, Mike. Who has the document?
I don't know.
Mary.
Mary.
Mary, just pass it down, please.
I have the document,
And we need the
but
board
we have advice from our city council to say that we have accepted the certificate of recount documents. We don't have to say agree with the results. We can say accept the documents.
But it says that on that.
But it says.
But let's,
Yeah, I agree. You don't, the council does not have, you don't have to say we accept the results. To approve the.
But it says-
That's what this says, but.
It says on July 16, 2026, the Wall City Council reviewed the certificate of recount held on June 15th, 2026, from the election held on June 2nd, 2026 for the mayoral race and agrees with results.
That's what it
You do
says.
not have to agree with the results.
take.
You don't have to sign that document. No, I don't,
No.
my opinion, you don't have
No,
to sign.
he's telling you not to do that.
I'm not telling you not
Oh,
not to. I'm telling you don't have to, okay?
He is saying that we could accept the documents.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion, we do the right thing. Steve Grady Crowd as mayor based on his winning the June 2nd, 2026 election. These election results were later certified and signed off by all members of the Wall City Council, and we have him take the oath of office and be seated immediately.
Was there a motion on action item number 7?
I thought there
And did
was.
it die for lack of a second? I think that's, I'm just trying to get us on path procedurally.
There
On
was.
what?
And I, 17.
17.
I'm not clear on what Rick said, but what I think the gist of his motion was, because it was pretty detailed, but motion by Husted to go back to the original canvas and to have Gordy take the oath for mayor. Is that what you had?
Yes, be seated and take the oath.
But wasn't there another motion prior to that?
There was an agenda item ready to be considered. And that's started out in a list.
So.
Which typically.
So that typically dies because there wasn't lack of a second. Is that how it works, Nathan?
Typically, if a motion doesn't get a second, it dies, yeah.
So we have a motion. Is that correct? Is everybody agree on that? We have a motion. I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for, Gordy Kraus to be seated based on the original canvas amount. I will recall, well, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, now I need the individual count there. Okay, we are voting on seating Gordy Kraus based on the original canvassed amount, which would disregard the recount information. Melanie?
Aye.
Aye.
What are we voting on?
Who's mayor?
We are ignoring the recount vote, the recount board's work. And
That is part of my motion.
but I'm helping explain.
I-
Not him.
Dan,
Aye. Aye.
Jerry?
Nay.
Nay.
That would be for the two, right? Okay.
Can we just say Mary has done a hell of a job,
absolutely.
her lifetime? No, we can't say that? Okay.
Yeah, we
You
can
just did.
Okay, well, I just wanted, she deserves some respect.
work your tail off for this ball,
Okay. That being said, Sam, there needs to,
We need an oath of office.
No, we need to go through the award one.
Oh, okay.
I'll make the motion to seat Lilia Stone for oath of office for board one.
Second.
is there a motion? All right, second.
I said.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Carol, would you like to administer the vote?
Yes.
You did not sign. No, yeah, yeah.
So this. Yeah.
Might need it for someone.
I need you to read it. I'm done. Sorry.
I, Lilia Stone, was duly elected by the qualified voters of the city of Wall at the municipal election held on June 2nd, 2026. And can be declared elected to the office of council member in London for a term of 4 years, ending in 2030. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, the ordinances of the city of Wall, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of council member for the city of Wall, Lincoln County, to the best of my ability.
Can we give Rick a positive send off? Let's.
Yeah.
You guys are wonderful. Wouldn't be a city without you.
I don't know, I took one from Carolyn and I still have mine. Somebody borrowed it.
Ready? I, Gordy Kraut, was duly elected by the qualified voters of the city of Wall at its municipal election held June 2nd, 2026. And hereby declare elected to the office of mayor for a term of 4 years, ending in 2030. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, the ordinances of the city of Wall, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor for the city of Wall and to become the deputy. Thank you all.
Runner.
We'll see. Okay, I guess that takes us to, well, first off, I'd like to thank Mary, Stan, who's done a heck of a job, Rick, who's done a heck of a job for the city, and we'll miss your knowledge and that's gonna be next comes the election of president of the council.
I nominate Jerry Morgan for president.
Second.
I have a nomination and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I,
I have a difference, so I'll go down the line. Zach?
Aye.
One aye. Jerry, I think you're abstaining.
I better abstain.
Lily? One and one. Dan?
Yes.
2 ayes. Mike?
Aye.
We have 3.
nay,
It passes 3-2. Congratulations, Jerry, President.
I nominate Mike Anderson, Vice President.
I have a nomination of Mike Anderson for Vice President.
Second.
I have a second by Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
I abstain.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mike. Is that the only officers we have?
Yep.
Okay. Number 20 is first reading of ordinance 26-05, accessory dwelling units. I've not seen that, so.
so Caroline, could you give us a synopsis of what this is since Gordy?
That's for Lily. Well, this was, I would actually refer it to Sean, because this was something brought to the planning commission by her, that she'd been working on. So if you would like to go ahead and give up.
So this, I brought this to the planning and zoning committee, accessory dwelling units for, our 55+ community, to help address, senior housing. And then after a 3 years moratorium or period, then those accessory dwelling units could then be used as rentals, but not short-term rentals. That was what we had put in there, because we have tried to put in assisted senior living and just not cost effective. So this is a path to at least helping with that problem.
Thank you.
I have some questions there. So if you do this, you have both accessory dwelling units in both permitted and conditional uses. So it's very confusing when you have it in both.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
You have it in permitted uses and conditional uses.
You have it under both.
Oh, I thought I had removed that, weren't we?
Yeah, it's supposed to be conditional because.
That's what I said the intent was.
There's conditional.
So yeah, here, like number 4. under section B. Probably needs to be removed.
I do have a question. Have any of these been run by the city attorney?
I have not reviewed these.
Do you normally review ordinances changes?
When requested,
Should you?
when requested, I don't review everything without being asked.
What are your thoughts, guys?
So can we make a motion, to approve this ordinance, just take.
So this is
we
just
have
a
to change.
first reading. And you can make any kind of changes you want to the first reading. That's the purpose of the first reading. And then after making changes, unless there's like a lot of substantial changes to it. After the changes have been made, then it would go back to a first reading if there's a lot of changes. Or if there's just like some word difference or whatever like that, it doesn't change the actual content of the ordinance. Then you would just have the second reading at the next meeting with those changes. So do you feel it's?
Yeah, I'm okay with this.
Can we give
Just
the,
to take the,
I was not really sure what we were doing here, so I did reach out to Lily knowing she was on planning and zoning, but what this is what used to be referred to as mother-in-law cabins in your backyard. So, it would be, right now, you couldn't build, like Wayne and I could not build a small house in our backyard and bring his mom down. Because it's not permitted under our ordinances, and that's what they're trying to do, is change that ordinance to allow something like that in the future. Am I clear? Is that right?
yes.
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 Right.
Do we have a motion?
So
Don't
to be
need a
clear, you're asking it to be removed from permitted?
Permitted uses, yes.
We just make the suggested changes and then.
No, you have to make a motion
have to
for
First
reading,
reading,
We have to,
and then
with the
approve it the
changes
second time
made.
with changes.
so do I have a motion with the changes that Lily had,
Yes.
Dan motions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Jerry seconds. Any further discussion?
This will have to follow building codes and lot requirements and.
You know, we actually have a resolution that if you guys approve this, that will have all of those stipulations in it, of how big it can be and where it can be, and it has to follow building and code zoning and all of that kind of.
There's several restrictions that we put on it.
Yeah. there's a-
More work for Garrett.
It's just another.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 21, first reading of ordinances, 26-06 on fences.
I don't know if you want any background on this, so, in the previous ordinance, fences in the front yard were not allowed. And we had some people bring concern on that, especially that live on Glen Street. Because there is a lot of walking traffic and they walk their dogs and their dogs go into their yards and have to be cleaned up after and things like that. So the planning commission reviewed the ordinance and is allowing them as long with some restrictions of not over a certain height difference and things like that. So,
Material.
yes.
Yeah.
And again, this is just the first reading.
So what's your guys' pleasure?
So what's the perimeter?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Along the sidewalk, is it?
It cannot,
Behind the sidewalk?
It cannot obstruct
It
it.
can't obstruct any public sidewalk and it can't obstruct the view of traffic.
Right, but it can go right up to what if you?
the lot line, is that what
What if
you're
you don't have
asking?
a site?
Yeah, which we do have some of those.
Right. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna have to go and look at them, so I wanna know.
Right, it's a good question.
And it's gonna.
So,
I'm telling you, it's gonna cause some problems. Just so you know.
Because we're allowing fences now,
In the front yard, yeah.
This passes, yes.
okay?
I don't think it's a great idea, you know, I mean, if you see people's backyards and the weeds going through their fence, snow removal, it's all gonna get shoved out in the street. I mean, want me to move it, that's fine, but I think it's gonna cause issues. There's a reason why they didn't have it for so many years, but that's my opinion as public works director.
Okay, but there still are homes that have a front fence in our community.
Right. There is, yep, my grandfather did.
Yeah, so
But
they,
when you get every single one on the whole entire street, like, you know. you're
I won't be
gonna-
putting a fence in here.
Okay.
Just so you know.
And I understand where Garrett's coming from, but another thing that where it doesn't make sense to not allow it. So my side yard is on Norris Street, so I can have a fence, but that's Jerry's front yard, so he can't.
Right.
On adjoining properties, so I mean,
So explain that again.
so my side yard faces Norris Street, so I
Right.
can have a fence there, but that's Jerry's front yard next door to me, he can't have a fence.
I think maybe you would wanna change the sidewalk language to something that says the path where a public sidewalk would exist.
That's probably what it needs to happen, where a
Rather
public
than
sidewalk.
existing sidewalk, you have to be behind, you should say the location where the sidewalk would connect to the rest of the public sidewalk or something.
We need to send that back to planning and zoning. Okay.
Just need to change the
What
language.
would you need so many feet off of the street there, and the hell?
Behind the curb.
Yeah, so many feet behind the curb would probably help. You know,
Maybe we should have.
we made on and make her put her sign back 8 feet from the curb.
Your water main shut-offs consistent.
So visibility for truck, pedestrians or use of public sidewalks.
See, and that's another thing that worries me too, is like, Glen Street's busy, you're gonna get people passing and. I mean, I guess they're gonna have to wait turns, but you know, some of them go in the grass and some of them are.
I
Gonna have
think
to go
when we
up
did
the
that
street.
too, we were some people had mentioned that would be if we put in there that it can't block the use of a public sidewalk, that would give you a lot of leeway on. When you go out there to approve them to say like, well, don't the sidewalks right there, you have to be back or whatever, and that would protect you on being able to. Not let them build it right up there where it's gonna be in the way of traffic or whatever. But then that issue is.
It would not be.
How many people actually want a sign or a fence in their front yard? I mean, is this for one person?
There's actually quite a few that have asked me,
They have.
yeah.
Is there certain language you would like to see in there, Garrett?
I'd like to see, you know, maybe like a setback or a distance from the back of the curb to.
Can you recommend for that?
No, I think 8 feet is good, and that way. You know, usually I think there was like. What's it, the sidewalk?
44 feet. Type of fence, then it's gotta be chain link or.
Just so it doesn't obstruct. Oh, yeah, I mean,
Working dog, you know,
right,
4 foot.
right,
You know, with what Dan was saying about he can have a fence on his, I just realized the new house next to me. The front door faces to the south, so they can have a fence on Norris Street too, but I can't. I can have a fence on both sides of my yard and one of them my yard, because of the way their house faced. That's is very odd.
yeah, I think it, I mean, it's just. Kinds of safety and aesthetic, and snow removal and,
Water shut off.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean, we just.
Yeah.
But this is what I think, and yeah, I mean, if you got a 4-foot sidewalk and you got 4 foot. In between the sidewalk and the fence, that's. Plenty of room, and it's probably gonna be different at every house too, they might not have. That much room. Like, for instance, if you use Jay McDonald as an example, yeah, or it would be. Maybe 4 foot from this house, 6 foot or something.
What do you guys think?
So can I just ask for clarification? You're saying 8 feet back from the curb?
So yeah, so the curb line here and your sidewalks here, you measure from the back of the curb.
Because the sidewalk is
4
4 feet, so it'd actually be 4 feet of the sidewalk. I just want to get this in my head, so if I have to explain it.
And there could be an existing, you know, just use the back of curb because there's pretty much curb. We do have a few.
Okay.
Melanie made a motion, right? I did make.
Oh, did you make a motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
with changes.
Okay, I have a motion and a second by Lily. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Decided either way.
Hmm?
I didn't vote either way.
Oh.
Sorry.
You want
Putting a fence 8 foot into my front yard, come on.
I bet it's not gonna happen,
I'm
Jerry.
confused.
You could always spin your house, Jerry.
Yeah, spin it. There you go.
That takes us to item 22, first reading of ordinance 26-07, fire code.
So that was just a. If that was the only one that had red lines on mine, think that were taken out or added. And you just changed the word from what to fire.
It was commented because we were at the national or.
Whenever fire
Yes,
gets like
it's
the uniform, fire
uniform.
code or something,
Yeah.
that's like an outdated one.
Should be
Every
national.
Municipalities are switching to
International.
international, yeah, so that was just kind of that policy gets updated every 3 years or something like that. The old one, they've quit updating it, so it's like a 2010, is the last time they revised that. So just with any new regulations and stuff, that new fire code will catch all that, it's revised every 3 years or however often.
Do we need to change the actual, the paragraph that says adoption of uniform fire code? Do we need to change it to informational fire code instead of uniform?
Oh, in the heading of it, you
Yeah.
think? Okay, probably, yeah, I missed that. One other thing, I'm trying to get to the document here, sorry. We actually included, or not we, sorry, I will say it that way. They actually included, a section from the old ordinance that we had in there. So on that 91.01, you're saying to change that so that it says national. International.
International.
Yeah, okay. I gotta find it here. So yeah, it's kind of numbered differently in order to fit it in there, so it's the unlawful and permitted burning was taken from the old ordinance that we just felt that they just felt were some good things that needed to be included in our current ordinance. So that whole section was pulled from the old ordinance and put in there, and that's why the numbering is a little different in order to fit it in there where I felt it belonged, and that's the 91.08.1.
This is probably a silly question, but who monitors whether somebody's burning garbage in their fire pit?
Well, yeah, we aren't the police, the
Yeah.
public works and stuff, but if we get a complaint, at least we
that where
have
you go
something
then?
to base it on.
Now, usually they call the fire. Is what's happened in the past,
Okay.
because they'll call 911.
And our,
Because they
our
know they're
police
burning paper or they're burning cardboard or.
They don't know for sure, but it's, I think they're supposed to, most of the time.
The only thing that allows to burn is clean wood.
Clean wood,
So you
yeah.
can't burn painted wood, you can't burn leaves, rubbish, any of that stuff. You're just supposed to be clean burning in these fire pits and stuff.
Thank you.
How does fire make excessive noise? I just.
There's
hate
stuff you
it.
add to it.
Except that I know my stereo, it's pretty loud, fire, but there's here is something, or it says excessive noise or smoke.
Well, you can throw fun stuff in them now, they crackle.
They crackle and color and Yeah.
Oh,
like a fireworks.
So, go ahead, motion or discussion? Sorry, I have a motion by Lily, second by Zach. All, any further discussion? Hearing none. All approve it, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Right.
Thanks, guys.
Good night. Thank you.
All right, down on the agenda is the economic development report. John?
All right. All right, good evening. So I'll try to shorten this up a little bit. My report was 6 pages long. Just want to update you on some of the things that I've been doing. I did attend the South Dakota Housing's annual meeting. A great talk on housing and how to expand it, build it, make it affordable, and got some good information out of that. So kind of the theme that came down was housing is not just a construction problem, it's also an affordability wage problem. The problem is construction investment has been shifting into capital, into large projects like data centers, mega projects, chip plants. So cost, labor, financing are all being absorbed by these large industrial projects, leaving less capacity for housing. Mortgage rates are stuck at a high 6.5%. So people that have low mortgages that would probably move and upscale or downscale are sticking where they are. So we don't have that movement. There's a slow turnover, fewer listings. So it kind of comes down to, we have a wage gap. So, the medium household, medium home price has kind of stuck for us here in South Dakota. And it is 9 to 13% higher than pre-COVID trends. And we're just kind of accepting it, which makes it hard for people to buy new homes, to move into homes, to downsize. And then we're one of the lowest wages of the state. We generally rank 47th to 49th nationally. So we just don't have the money for people to buy homes. In 2021, it was about 15% of your income when you got a home loan, and now we're at 36% of your income. So that makes it really hard for people to buy homes. So some of the options that they're talking about is dealing with what we already have in place as in infrastructure, making single family homes into multifamily homes. That can be reversed later if trends change. So we can help increase our housing stock and make it more affordable, adding, like we just talked about, accessory dwelling units and that kind of stuff. So basically, housing affordability in South Dakota is primarily a wage and economic development challenge, not just a construction challenge. So we need to get higher paying jobs and higher paying employer attractions, do incremental smaller changes to our houses and our infrastructure, and target housing tools, infill development, and then kind of, hang in there about the expectation of how much our houses cost. So, some good news, some bad news. We just sort of need to think smaller. Everybody wants to build these 5,000 square foot houses, and we don't really need that anymore. So that was a housing summit. I also attended the governor's ag summit, and so some of the things that came down, the governor told me that they told us that they put a 5-year moratorium on cell cultured beef. And then ethanol remains a powerhouse in our state at $1.5 billion annually, which is continuing to anchor us as a biofuel sector. Innovation and technology that came out of it, virtual fencing is emerging as a major efficiency tool, keeping cattle where they belong and reducing fence repair costs and helping to maintain, open rangeland. And then, I did a tour of South Dakota State University's research farm, which was fascinating to me. They do kind of the plant rotation and soil science and all of that, on a smaller scale, and then use those where they can make the mistakes. And then move that information onto the farmers so that they're not they don't lose the crop, trying to figure out how to rotate their crops for higher yields and that kind of stuff. Workforce and demographics, there's a workforce shortage that continues to challenge agriculture, not just, the rest of us. They too were impacted by the H2 visas. And then we're trying to emphasize supporting the next generation, encourage them to stay home, return home, and build careers here in the rural community. And there's also a trend that over 60% of landowners own their land but don't farm it. They rent it out to others to be farmed. I found this fascinating. Goat meat is the #1 consumed meat globally. So it's an untapped market for US producers. And Baby Bell, which is on the south side or the east side of the state, is expanding their operations. Which will require 10,000 additional dairy cows, which is a major growth potential for the state. And the state actually went out and courted them to come here. They were looking at different sites when they were looking originally, and the state did bring them in here, so that was good for us. Let's see here. I also am part of Rushmore Regional Alliance, and I attended a meeting recently, and I've been put on the policy committee meeting. And what that means is we will attend different policies and events, and then report that back to the group. We're trying to get the whole group together so that we can have a stronger voice here on the western side of the state, because a lot of our policies at the state legislature level are influenced by the eastern side of the state, and that's just because we don't have a strong voice. So we're trying to do that to make sure that we here in western South Dakota are also heard and taken care of. Then I just Monday, Tuesday, attended an economic summit from IEDC, which is International Economic Development Corporation, hosted by Elevate, which is the economic development in Rapid City. And IEDC is over 100 years old. They're celebrating their centennial this year. I was like, wow, I didn't realize economic development had gone back that far. So, but some of the things I took out of there were fascinating to me too. When businesses are looking for where to set up in that, they're looking at supply chain, and now stability is more important than price. They'll pay a higher price to know that that stays stable, even through all the fun geopolitical stuff that's influenced that, trades and tariffs. And also quality of life has become a huge deal maker for site selectors, because most businesses, when we're looking for a location to put their business, they can already pull all that data that we have. They want to know our town story. They want to know what our quality of life is. They want a compelling story. They want responsiveness from us. They're looking for, true identity, values, and momentum, which we have. And then they talked a lot about timelines for these projects. So when a business starts thinking about expanding or moving or building another location, it takes anywhere around 4 years for that to happen, for that planning to happen. And by the time then 4 years later, then they'll break ground, and that could take over a year for that building to be up. So we just have to be patient. Those timelines it takes a time for that. Workforce challenges, birth rates are going down, and our baby boomers are retiring. So we're short on who's coming into the workforce, and we have a lot of people leaving the workforce. So that is an issue. And then there's a $2.1 million openings for skilled trades. So we need to look at upskilling, reskilling our workforce into kind of those trades jobs. For every tradesperson that graduates, they have 3 jobs available waiting for it. So that's a high. Been a long night and a long day. something that we really need, and that's one of the things that I'm working on in that. So, also some numbers that I found interesting is that agriculture is only 8% of our GDP in South Dakota. Tourism is 2%, and finance and insurance is 16%. So the state that is working on seeing how they can tap that financial money that we're holding here with all the trusts and everything and bring that back into the state for economic development and growth. And South Dakota is competitive with no corporate tax, no state tax, no income tax. But other states are catching up with us and starting to put those things into place. And where we're losing ground is when we don't have as exemptions for sale and use tax, equipment tax, excise tax. They tend to go elsewhere because they can get those benefits and it's more economic for them to do that. I also found out that Rapid City Sports Complex is on point to be built out there on Mall Drive. And then I got a good look at their innovation district that they're putting in from it's Fifth down through School of Mines. And that'll be many years in the works, but that'll be really kind of impressive when it gets put in there. They're gonna incorporate downtown into more School of Mines and have businesses on the first and workspaces on above and make it more walkable and that kind of stuff. So, but that's a long-term plan. So that is some of the conferences that I've attended and the information that I got out of that. Community center report, since I'm kind of taking over that, just want to let you know in the month of June, we had 3 events, 2 family reunions and a meeting. We had 2 organizations use our facility. The Quilters used it twice. We had 1 public meeting, which was the elections. And then we had 15 city chamber economic development analyst type meetings in the community center. And that number is up for the month before. And then I would like to request the council's consensus to allow me to advocate for changes of our legal postings. As we know, we lost our local paper and now we are in Hill City, which is way away from our community. Most people don't subscribe to it. I know we're not the only rural community that has that issue. So I would like to start advocating for changes in that so that maybe we can use the Phillips Pioneer, which is 20 miles away, and people actually subscribe to that, use that paper as opposed to Hill City, or some other things to work with our state legislators to change that so it's more effective for rural cities and we're not paying Rapid City journals high rates or in a paper that's not even access to our community. So I'm also going to reach out to other communities to try to help push that through and use EDPA and Rushmore Region to help advocate for those changes, because I think that needs to be changed. It's kind of antiquated, but we do need to get that out to the public. And right now, I mean, we're putting it in Hill City and that's not our paper and it's not even close to us. So, so I guess I'm just asking for a consensus from you guys, if that's okay for me to push forward on trying to get those changes. Yeah, we're all good with that.
You go, girl.
All right, I will do that. Another thing that I am going to do, I've already started with some businesses. And then I would like to talk with some of our farmers and ag producers. I would like to start reaching out to federal level and work on our H-2B visa problem, because I know it was an absolute nightmare this year for a lot of people. Visa appointments were scheduled for after they were supposed to be here. They couldn't get the numbers they want. It's just a hot mess. So I would like to start advocating that as well, using Rushmore Region again, and get out there to our congressmen and senators. It's a huge impact for our town as well as the Black Hills area. So that is something else I will be working on. And then the final thing that I have today is this fall we are hosting South Dakota State University Extension's Small Business Basics class. It starts in September. It goes for 6 nights, once a week, 5:30 to 8:30. It's free for economic development investors and their employees. Just call me up and ask me for a code and I'll give that to you. West River Electric is hosting, or not hosting, but supporting a $250 best business plan contest. So I have flyers if anybody's interested. If you wanted to pass this around to anybody that has a business, just business plans, resources, insurance, everything you kind of need as a small business to get started, or if you're started and you have questions, it's a good class to take to get that all figured out. Will help you get a business plan together and get you up and off on your feet. So that's all I have. Questions for me tonight?
Thank you, Sean. Any questions for Sean?
Doing a great job.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you.
much.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, finance officer report.
Well, I had Hill City paper information on there, but I had not gotten any information back yet on that. And I was just inquiring to see, what, annual subscription would cost for that paper and for the city to get, so that I would have it here if anybody did want to come in and look at it. And just to understand their process of how it works online and, those kinds of things. So I just haven't had an opportunity. I reached out, but they just haven't gotten back to me, so I'll try to report on that next meeting, with more information to follow. And just wanted to report that at last meeting, we had a concern letter submitted, and I did send out letters to that, and the recheck for those nuisances that were brought to our attention is on the 27th, that we'll do a follow-up. I did get a call back from one of the people, just making sure they understood what the letter was indicating and that, and so that's continuing to be worked on. And what,
I will update if you,
you have an
I
update?
look at it if,
Okay,
just so the one property has been mowed, but the garbage hasn't been cleaned up, and then the other property, the dirt and asphalt have been cleaned up, but hasn't been mowed yet, so.
okay,
They are working.
so they are looking both projects. Okay. And then I have been getting some calls of people wanting to know about coming in and early voting for the governor runoff. And I just felt like after Katie leaving, I just had my plate full of everything to be going on in the office, and we really didn't need to add more. And as it's turned out, I'm kind of glad I did, because of the cybersecurity issues. The county, in fact, I just got a text from her today asking some questions because they can't do emails and stuff. So I think it would have just been a nightmare, and I apologize to people that have been asking, but just not able to fit that onto my plate. So just one.
Have the government runoff here at the.
Yeah, we're an official polling place. So anytime there's an election that goes on for the county, it's held here too. So
So
that would be
what
the
are we
28th.
not doing then? So we're having the
We're
election.
having the election. I'm just not doing early voting. for
No
that.
early voting, okay.
But they can mail in or whatever and request it.
They can, but there's such a slow process for that to get that. So I've been telling people it's best if, when they're in Rapid, to go up and, they could just early vote up there. It's
Thank you.
simpler. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
I have one. Are we still sending information to Rapid City Journal then, since we haven't officially moved to Hill City yet?
We did officially move last
Oh, we
week.
did, okay.
Yeah.
So what were you waiting on information for? I missed.
Just more information. I mean, I found the process of submitting my minutes and stuff like that, but for
Perfect.
people to be able to see them and get an online subscription or
Okay.
mail-ins, what that all entails, so that I
Okay.
can share that information with people.
Okay,
I just
thank
haven't
you.
gotten a response.
What is the profit considered?
That's just for advertising.
It's not-
It's not a official legal.
That's not
No,
official paper.
And I have still used them, they call it Roblet Publication, it's not to profit anymore, but, well, I guess it is, but it's run through them. So like the pool ad and things like that, but any legal documents that have to be published in an official paper, it's not able to be done that way.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Any other questions for Carolyn? Hearing none. Item number 25, Public Works Report.
We got park improvements up there. We've just done a little work on the tennis court up there. Well 7. I told you guys a while back that I think it got struck by lightning. I called the well people, first of all, I had a hard time getting somebody to even come down here, but after I did, he started looking for pumps. There's a pump and a motor. I go down in there. Most of the pumps are being built with lead in it because they're pumping oil. And you can't have lead when you do that, so they're really hard to find, and those come from China. And those are about $90,000.
Oh.
But there is a used pump with a new motor on it, in Rapid City. It's about 30,000, but we don't know. It's like a 240 horse pump motor, and we only need like 140, so. There's ways to downsize it, the transfer stuff, we're just kind of to see if it's compatible with that.
Any kind of guarantee on the used?
No. And and I've been thinking, like, he said most places now are buying an extra pump and motor for every well, so they have it on hand, and if you do order one, it's up to 26 weeks for it.
So are all of our wells ran by the same type of motor and pumps?
No, they're all different.
Okay.
So just waiting to hear back from them. And then, rubble side, we've been having some issues out there. I mean, it's always had a few issues, but, people will come to us and want to take something to the rubble site, so we'll give them our keys, they'll put it on my desk or whoever's desk. Well, people are coming in and taking them off our desk. Or taking them out of the mailbox, and somebody took mine and never brought them back. So I changed all the locks again. And then yesterday when day before, Brandon was pushing tree branch pile in, he noticed somebody cut the fence and they've been driving through the fence.
Oh.
So I don't charge people to go down there. Because I feel it helps keep the town clean and, businesses or whatever, they haul a bunch of stuff. It's different, but when you're dumping refrigerators in the tree branch piles or hot water heaters,
grill,
it's very irritating. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything to call me to do it. And if you call me on Friday and say, hey, I want to do it on Sunday or whatever, I'll line it up, but irritated getting called on a Saturday or Sunday wanting to do it, which we still do, but I don't know what to do. I mean, I think we want to catch these people, we're gonna have to update our cameras, because we just have piddly little game cameras there. I don't know if we want to get Wi-Fi ones where you can look at it live and it records it, but we put in 2 huge posts and put a cable all the way around the front. Not all the way, we didn't get done, it was really hot today, but we got the front side done. I sure hate to have to gate the whole thing off where people can't even take their,
So Garrett, you
Tree
have
branches.
somebody always on call on weekends, right? One of you on call?
it's for emergencies.
Yeah, but
It's,
could you indicate like one day a week on Saturday? That's because it should be controlled dumping. so you
Oh,
know
yeah.
it's being dumped.
yeah,
Did you
One
have
Saturday.
that problem? And it was controlled, like the first Saturday of every month, it was open from 9
yeah,
to.
no, it was always, people always just dump everything, I mean, damn those. We thought that by not charging people, it would help take it in there, but I don't know if you guys have any suggestions, or it was kind of irritating to change out the padlocks.
And if you were to get a camera and you did see someone, identify them, what would be the next step?
I usually call them and ask them to come remove whatever they took, or if it's somebody that has my keys, I'm probably gonna call the cops. Because they should.
And we don't have a fine for,
We don't.
Okay.
But we've had, I've caught people before, and there's 5 signs that say yard waste only, cameras in use. And then they'll say, well, look, what are you talking about? I got you on camera. But I don't know. I mean, it's pretty. I think it's nice for people to be able to use it like they do, to use it like that.
And the only way to stop it is to get a camera.
Or to lock it down completely and they
And you
have to
don't-
come find us and we have to go down there and we have to go.
You don't
through
wanna do
every
that.
road. I really don't want to.
I don't just want to get some price on it, a couple different kinds of cameras and you bring it back to us.
Yeah. And I don't know really much. I said, I don't know much about the Wi-Fi cameras or anything. I mean, we have the ones at the airport that's on. I guess that's on Wi-Fi. What would the other ones be, cellular? I'll look into it.
Yeah, there's usually a monthly fee of some kind.
Yeah, like your cameras, they come right to your telephone
Yeah.
and save them there, so I mean.
So do we
Yeah,
just have?
now we have the ones that you put the chip in and so you gotta.
You gotta pull the chip out.
Every time the wind blows, that tree branch sets it off, so there's 10,000 pictures of a tree going.
Well,
Maybe the game cameras are less expensive and better quality now.
Yeah.
and the game camera, no, excuse me, that's my security cameras at home, I can say person, animal, or when you can.
Oh, yeah.
Like it, like that.
Yeah, that's the
My
one
game
out
camera.
there. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of disheartening to trust people and then.
Totally understand.
So I'll look into some different cameras. And then if worse comes to worse, I just,
You know what? My suggestion would be to put sign out there, that's funny too, let's pay for the cameras, let's get some night cameras every time somebody, dumps it out, they're not supposed
If you
to,
start
charge them and we'll keep
people,
updating
they'll-
the camera.
Do we need to do anything as far as an ordinance to have it, be able to charge them?
We have an
Yeah.
ordinance that says that we can fine to a certain amount. So
$50. Pretty reasonable.
some people are, I pay $50 to dump it out there.
Well, you're probably right.
I mean, I would suggest, since we have that ordinance in place, what you could have is just a resolution to support that. And if you're gonna have a set fee, that should kind of be broke out, because, you know, you might say $50 this time, and then 3 months from now, we might not really remember that unless we
Right,
read the
exactly.
minutes, and then we're gonna charge somebody
And $50 is auxiliary.
Right.
Lily looked at me like you're nuts, so.
But I'm just saying, if you're serious about that, we could do that with a resolution to.
Then I think we need to think of a post or something to put on social media. Telling what's happening and what might happen, you know, I gotta close it up, lock the whole thing up, but. Because we get inspected by the state. I have to keep paperwork of everything that comes in there, how much it weighs. And
Yeah.
so. It's not a landfill, like people think. That's all I have.
Thanks, Garrett. Any questions for Garrett? Hearing none. Mayor report. I think I'm gonna pass on that one. Item 27, items for discussion. No action will be taken. Do I have any?
I guess one thing I'd like to bring up is, we've had discussion in the past about, sidewalks. And, specifically on Glen Street and what we can kind of do to. Look at plans for. Like, 5-10 year plans or whatever to kind of upkeep or get sidewalks in where there aren't sidewalks or there's stuff that's. That's in the way of a sidewalk, that's obstructing the sidewalk. I'd like us to maybe next meeting, start talking more serious about that, for the safety and welfare of our citizens and our visitors.
Okay, thanks, Zach. Anything else? Hearing none. Next city council meeting will be August 6th at 6:30. And do we have a need for executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for the SDCL 1-25-2 (1) (3) (5).
I have a motion, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Hold, hold.
Okay, we come out of executive session and we're on item 30, action following executive session.
Okay, I move that the city council hire and appoint Brooke Sammons as city finance officer effective January 17, 2027, subject to execution and filing of the required oath of the office and finance officer bond in compliance with SDCL 9-14-6 and SDCL 9-14-6.1. Until that date, Brooke Sammons be employed as finance officer in training under supervision of the current city finance officer starting July 17, 2026 at $58,000 a year.
Second. I have a motion and a second by Zach. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. I don't need a motion for that. do I?
10:05.
Huh?
10:05.
At 10:05. Thank you, everyone.